All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals and comic fans of all shapes and sizes. Welcome to a brand new episode of Pink Buzz. This is a very special episode. It is dedicated to our good buddy 40 Ounce Goose, who is having a little bit of a bad week. So we're gonna talk about a few books that I actually know he really likes. Kind of wish he was here with us now, but he's at work. Yeah, we are going to be doing our first DC Comics episode. Isn't that right, Joey?
Yep, our first only DC. I think we've covered maybe a couple DC books, but this episode will be completely dedicated to DC, four separate DC titles.
Yeah, we both kind of got an old one and a newer one, which is pretty cool.
Mm. Yeah, we'll be covering the two I picked was one was Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, and the other one was an old one that I haven't read since I was a teenager. Is Lobo, the Lobo series with Keith Giffen, Alan Grant, and Simon Bisley. So those are the two I picked.
My first time ever reading that, so it was pretty interesting. As a '90s kid, I'm happy to have finally have read that.
Yeah,
Like the second arc, Lobo's back, should actually just be called 1990s the comic because like it just embodies like the whole thing. It's got like the whole. We'll get into it when it's time, but
yeah,
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 like
yeah,
it should be called 1990s the comic. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I picked Simon Dark, which I've talked about several times. I've made a few videos about it in the past. It's one of my all-time favorites. Kind of on the newer side of things, not new, but and then of course for my old pick, I picked the classic Starman by James Robinson, with art by Tony Harris. Classic run, one of the greatest comics probably ever printed, let alone from DC or
Yeah. And we didn't cheat. Like we didn't go Vertigo. These are all DC titles. None of them are Vertigo titles, so we didn't cheat it. We actually took actual mainline DC titles. So yeah, yeah.
so. Yeah, before we get into that though, you got to check in, Joey.
Oh shit, yeah. This week I didn't get much reading done. Did you? I sent you a pic of the book I read. The one I sent you. Did you get it? Anyway,
The
I could just
the history of Black punk
the
rock.
yeah, exactly. I read that this week. I saw it posted earlier in the week on Instagram, and so I went and picked it up off the publisher's Silver Sprocket, and now they have PDFs now of their books. So I went and picked up the PDF, seeing as how I don't want to pay the international shipping because the book's probably like $10, and I probably had to pay 15 for shipping. So I went and got the PDF and read that, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I like those kind of things. We're doing our music episodes and stuff, and it dives into the
It's really
history.
interesting. I really like the
Yeah,
subject. It can loosely be called a comic book, though. It's mostly like text
yeah,
with some
yeah.
rudimentary drawings, but
It,
I
it
liked it. It went into some stuff I really like that a lot of people don't. They kind of gloss over, like the late '60s garage rock. Like they really go into the Singer of Love's history, which I thought was cool.
mhm,
Like nobody really talks about them too often, and
yeah,
yeah, it was a pretty neat book.
yeah. It's the author's name. Her Twitter handle is not Twitter, but Instagram handle is Peppermint Reagan, and it's her name's Megan. Anyway, it Reagan. It imitates her name, Peppermint Reagan. Anyway, you can go there and find the creator there, or if you want to get the book, you can just go on Silver Sprockets on Instagram and hit the link there to go to their web page, their web store, and you can buy it there. But it's really cool. I love her style. She's into all that stuff like the punk rock music and the heavier stuff, and I guess she's in a band and she plays drums, and she has another book called Strange Lines. Is that it? Anyway, if you go on,
Um,
she has her own page and she has another book that's similar to this one. I think it's a bunch of quotes from prominent people of color throughout history, like quotes from some people of prominence and that have made a difference in the world and made their mark. So yeah, she's very active when it comes to black rights and getting the word out and you know bringing to light maybe parts of history that people have either ignored or brushed under the carpet. So it's definitely a really interesting read.
Yeah,
Mm,
really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And I got a lot of stuff in the mail this week, so I guess I could. I got. You'll probably find this one interesting. I got uh, Orc Island came in from Comics on the Green. I ordered this through Becky. She set me up. So Orc Island. That's with Joshua Dysart, Alberto Ponticelli, and Matt Hollinsworth is on colors. And I read the first issue, and it's pretty cool. I didn't get too far into it, so this is the only other book I read this week that wasn't for the show. So I've got all the issues of that. I also got from Comics on the Green. They sent me the David and Maria Lempam their book through Bad Idea of the Ends. So I got the 3 issues of that. They sent that to me. So those are the only 2 books I got from Bad Idea this time around. But I think it'll be the last time because it's expensive with the shipping. I think I got, what is this, 4 and 3, 7 books. It ended up costing me about, had to pay duty, shipping, and everything. It ended up costing me about $100 for these 7 books. So that's, I mean, they make good comics. It's just they got to find a better way to get these books into people's hands. They make it complicated for nothing. So
Oh, they make it
yeah,
complicated so they'll sell for a lot of money on eBay.
yeah, but how does that help them?
I
They
don't
don't
know
get
how that
any,
helps them, but
like the secondary
it
market.
seems to be the only it
They
seems
don't
to be
get
the
any
only thing
money
that
from
they're
that.
helping out with their marketing plan, though. That's why I've never
Yeah,
cared for that label.
unless they fucking buy out their own books and throw them on eBay at an exponential.
They
Unless
might
that's
be
what they're
ticket
doing.
mastering it, man. They're doing it all
Yeah,
Ticketmaster style.
unless and if they're ticket mastering it, I'm sorry, but Matt Ken, I'll never buy another one of your fucking books again if that's the case. And who else is a part of that bad idea? Like some of the anyway, if that's what they're doing, man, that is. I don't think he's that type
I'm
of
not gonna
person.
hold it against the creators that work there, but like, because I
But
mean, a
isn't
lot of
he?
people I like work there.
Yeah, but aren't a bunch of the creators that make the books part of the founding members of the bad idea?
I don't know really anything about it
Yeah, I'd have
besides
to
its
look into it.
marketing plan.
Yeah. I got Jeremy Hahn's Kickstarter came in, Hauntology. It was pretty cool. He sent a bunch of stickers, bookmarks, a bunch of stuff. It's really cool. He sent it, he wrapped it. He took the time to wrap it and everything, which was really awesome. So I posted that on Twitter. People can see. So I got that. And I finally, oh, this came in. I won this from the House of Nerds. They were drawing this as a giveaway, and I got this cover for the latest arc of Maniac of New York. And I finally made it to the comic shop. It'd been a month and 1 week. I hadn't made it to the comic shop. So guess what, man? Issues 4 and 5 of Lovesick. So that's can't wait to read that. This is the one I really want to hit up.
Oh snap,
Didn't
that's
get
out
time.
already.
Yeah, it came out this week. I didn't have time to read it. I just picked it up this afternoon. The final chapter to Nobody's Girl, the one I'd mentioned
The
before.
one that's
Oh,
like a Daniel Clowes book, right?
yeah, exactly from Sumerian. This one, Black Sun. The first issue was really good, so this is issue 2. Can't wait to read that. And I got a little James Stokoe action with
That's really good.
his cover of Where Monsters Lie. Have you read this one?
Yeah, I read the first issue
Yeah,
of it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, this is the first issue because I hadn't been to the shop in like a month. So these are those are the books I'm really looking forward to reading. And of course, I have these ones too. The issues 2 and 3 of the Firstborn, which is the same creators as Heavy Metal Drummer. Yeah. So yeah. So there. Yeah. So, oh, yeah, and this came in too. Shit. Yeah, I hadn't been in a month, so there's a lot of stuff came in at the Mezco 112 figure for the Crow.
Nice.
Yeah, so that came in. Yeah,
You gonna keep
that's
it
pretty
mint in
much.
box or?
Fuck no. I wouldn't buy it if. Oh yeah, and this, yeah. Shit, it'd been a month, so I got a lot of stuff today from the shop. Issue 2 of Swamp Thing Green Hell came in last week, I think. So I got some really good reads that I'm looking forward to reading for a change. Yeah, so that should be. I should have a good week of reading. Mm.
Well, I just got some Kickstarters in, but they just came in today. I got the second issue of Hollow North by Jeremiah Espinoza, really nice fellow on
Okay.
Twitter. But I haven't read it yet. It just came in today, and then I also got the PDFs for Galacto Pit Fighter
Oh yes, yes, I saw that. I got
issue,
the email too. Yeah.
mm, which
Mm.
I'm pretty excited for. I like the first issue a lot. I'm probably gonna wait to get my physical to read it though, because I
Read
don't know,
it. Yeah.
I'm like that. But
Mm.
you'll
I'll make
probably
that.
dig it. Like, you'll really like his art and
Yeah.
his style. He's definitely as crazy as like the guys that wrote this Lobo book we're gonna talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. One of the
But
highlights, anyway. I'll get into it once we get there. So, uh,
and
yeah.
then also I watched the first couple episodes of the new Trigun series on Hulu,
Okay.
Trigun Stampede. Um, I'm not sure if I like it yet or not. It's definitely interesting. Like they're basically retelling the story again, but like they the big mystery, like the whole crux of the show depends on you finding out like Vash's past and like what he does and is, and like the beginning of the show they just tell you right away.
Okay. Okay.
So and then so it's not that big of a deal, and that's already all set up. So I don't know like so it's kind of interesting, but like some of the way that they changed the characters, it's rubbing me a little bit the wrong way. But I really like the way the show looks. It's probably one of the nicest CG animes I've ever
Okay.
seen. It's gorgeous. It's a really good looking show, so it's got that
Mm.
going for it. But I'm only 2 episodes in. I usually give a show 4 before I bail. And I'm giving this one a mediocre rating so far. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you're interested, yeah, go ahead and check out Trigun Stampede. It's pretty decent so far.
Mm. Oh, yeah. We watched a movie this week. What was it? Orphan. Orphan First Kill. We almost shut it off. We almost didn't. We were watching. I was like, "This is fucking lame, man. It's just like the first movie." But then
Oh, so
there's that little twist in it where you're like, "Okay, now it got interesting," and we
that's
ended
the
up.
one where the little girl was actually like 40 or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Where she pretends to be a little girl. Yeah. Starts off all right. She's in like a ward, like, and it's all, and she escapes. But then anyway, it's then you're like, oh my god,
It's
this
a
is so
bad sequel. I
stupid.
got you, dude.
Yeah. But then there's like a little twist to it, like nothing crazy, but just a little twist that made it much more interesting, you know. So yeah, it got better. Like, but we almost turned it off and didn't finish watching it. But it was okay. Yeah, wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. 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 Julia, I think Julia Stiles is in it. She plays the mother. Uh, Joseph Sutherland plays the father, and then the brother. I didn't recognize the actor who played the brother. I don't remember what his name was, but yeah.
Julia
So
Stiles. She's blonde, right?
yeah, she's the one who was in the movie with Heath Ledger, that teenager high school movie, 10 Things I
Yeah.
Hate About You.
I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
she was in one season of Dexter as
She
well.
was in the Bourne movies, right? Yeah.
Uh
Yeah, she kind of like ran
oh,
the
after,
office.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, she's in she plays the agent, right? In the
That's
that
where I
tries to
knew her
help him.
from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's right. I forgot she was in that. Mhm.
I knew the name. It just took me a minute to remember like Julia Stiles. That's 90s, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, that's total like 90s, beginning of 2000s. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Glad to see she's still working, even though it's in horrible horror sequels, you know.
It wasn't so bad. I mean, as far as I don't know if this even made it I don't know if this was like a straight to streaming. Well, no one does DVDs, so you can't even use that term anymore, straight to DVD. But yeah. but I'm sure it had a pretty low budget, and it wasn't too bad.
It'll end up on Hulu.
Well, it's already. I think we watched it on. Was it on Amazon or Shutter? One of the two, anyway. We didn't pay for it. It was. I was like, oh, let's watch a show, movie instead of a show, so we put that on, and yeah.
All right. You want to jump into these books, man?
Hell yeah.
I figure we start with the newest. We're gonna go with your
That would
pick.
be Wonder Woman.
Yes, sir.
Where did I? Oh, it's right here under the crow figure. Yeah. Yeah. Wonder Woman. Yeah. Daniel Warren Johnson. I think this was the first book I read from him, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Serge, how's it going, Serge? Serge is
Your
in
first
the house.
DWJ book?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Unless, no, I think this is the first thing I read from him. I know Goose. I knew about him, like I knew of him because Goose always kept talking about Murder Falcon, and I heard about him a lot from Reputation, and he posts quite a bit on social media, so I saw a lot of his stuff. So, and then when I saw this was coming out, I ordered it because of his just from his Reputation, and man, I was not disappointed. So, story and art is Daniel Warren Johnson. It's colored by Mike Spicer, who I think is his
They work together a
usually.
lot.
Yeah, he usually colors his stuff, eh? And lettering is by Russ Wanton. Wooten. Covers by, yeah, all the covers are by him. Yeah, so basically, this is a dystopian. This is a Black Label DC book. This is a dystopian future where Wonder Woman wakes up in the future, and she realizes there was some kind of what was it? An atomic bomb goes off or something like that.
Yeah, what
And
they
then
call the Great Fire.
the Great Fire, yeah. So she wakes up, and does she wake up near? Let's
She wakes up
see.
in the Bat Cave.
In the Batcave, yeah. She's in from. She wakes up from like an incubator or something like that, and she's in the Batcave. That's the opening scene, which is pretty cool. Then she goes up into the mansion, and I think where's the scene? Do you have the scene? Yeah,
And
where
see Batman's
Bruce.
dead ass.
Yeah, just sitting there, his ass sitting on the couch, dead. It's so good. I love that. But that's not the opening scene, is it? It flashes
No, it
back, right?
opens with the kid. It shows like her mom talking about
Yeah, it
how
shows the
she was made
explosion.
out of.
Yeah.
It jumps around a lot. There's as many flashbacks as there is
Yeah.
modern storytelling, like futuristic storytelling in it.
Because there's a monster in the beginning where you see her, she's in her suit, and then she saves these survivors, right? I don't know what you call them. Uh, okay, then she passes out after saving them. Okay, no, this happens in the Batcave. Okay, that's it. These people wander into the Batcave where she wakes up, and this monster is hunting them. And then she kills the monster, and then they come up, and that's when she sees Batman. Okay, yeah, now I remember. That's how it goes. Yeah. And that's how she's introduced to the survivors after after this whole incident. How many years do they say? I can't remember, but it's quite a few years after.
I don't think they
Yeah,
actually give a figure. It's
yeah,
just
but
been generations.
like, and that's a scene. She gets up into the mansion. She looks outside. Wham! All you see is like, yeah, just the world's gone. It's just a red haze of emptiness. It almost looks like Mars, really. Yeah. And then she cries, and yeah, dealing with the grief of losing a close friend and ally in Bruce. So then she goes back into the. Oh, she takes his utility belt, grabs that, goes into his office or whatever, grabs her old suit, puts that on. Then she grabs a, what do you call that? Like just a poncho thing or whatever, puts that on, and that's how you get the awesome design. There's a couple swords hanging on the wall that she grabs as well. And then she goes out. Do they have a blow up of it. But anyway, it's such a great design. Her with the fur collared cape, with the swords. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Then she follows these people because she doesn't know what's going on. So she follows them out back to their village or wherever they live to make a deal. And they're like, "Oh, she's a warrior. Like they could use her because she's a good warrior to help them survive." Yeah. So she goes back, negotiates with them in a less than, well, you know it is. Everyone's dying, so they're negotiating, and negotiations don't go so well. So she kicks a desk at him because she's Wonder Woman. She has a bit of a temper. Yeah. So then they put her in a prison, in a jail. I think she goes willingly before. What's the character's name that vouches for her?
D, right?
D, the blonde. Yeah, the blonde kid. Yeah. So then she comes out. They put her into, and of course, hey, why not Wonder Woman? Let's put her in a gladiator ring to fight to prove her worth and loyalty to their cause, right? So, and who does she find in the gladiator ring? Cheetah, her nemesis, her arch nemesis, who is actually mutated from the explosion. She has teeth growing on the side of her jaw. One of her hands is actually a cheetah head.
Yeah,
It's
it's awesome.
it's a fucking cool design. Yeah. Do you have that scene? There's a nice scene. Put that shot back up. Oh, okay. You just have the one panel. If you scan further down on that picture,
Yeah, she's
where
punching
she's
and
throwing a punch and you see the cheetah head screaming as she punches and it's growling. It's really cool, really cool. I mean, he must have had tons of fun with this, right? Like,
oh yeah,
yeah. So then from that, they get attacked by,
what they call the Hedra, like which are
yeah,
basically like these like body horror monsters,
yeah, like they look like little
like that.
dragon wolf creatures. And all the while they're getting attacked, she's still in the gladiator pit fighting with Cheetah. So they're trying to defend the walls from these creatures, and they get overrun. And then these creatures start overtaking the gladiator stadium, and then the Cheetah and Wonder Woman see it, uh, and they decide to start, fighting because they don't have a choice to survive. And there's some amazing scenes. Do you have any shots of those ones where they're fighting the monsters in the gladiator pit? Yeah, like look at that. That's one thing Daniel Warren Johnson's so good at. The drawing those action sequences.
Yeah, because he does
Really.
the exaggerated measurements of movement. I like the way he does his movement because like you'll see like the fists will be like exaggerated looking, but like it does look like that in motion. So like I
Mhm.
love the way he captures that.
Do you have the next page up? Do you have the next page where she's like they're chopping at the monsters?
No, I only clipped a few
Oh
panels here and there,
man,
man.
like you can see. Yeah, I know. I was just checking because I have it here. Like you see where they like where she's hacking at it, and you see like the sword chunks in the neck. Then that bottom panel where they're just hacking, and you see the blood, kind of almost like as if there's a camera and blood is splashing on, like towards camera. So cool, so cool. Oh, the monster goes to uh, attack the person who stands up for her and just whack off with its head. And what do you call those things when the sound effects? What's that called again?
Automatopia.
Yeah, Otto. He's amazing at it. Look at that in the background. I don't know if it's him that does that in his art or if it's Chris that does that, Chris Wooten. But man, whoever does it, man, it's fantastic. All his books, it's always the same thing. Like
And I
it's
think it's in
so,
his art because like in Space Bullet, which was black and white, he still had it. So
yeah.
I think that
Like
comes.
here with Cheetah and Wonder Woman, like it never takes away. It's integrated, right? It
It's like
doesn't
the
compete.
old school style.
Yeah, it doesn't compete with the art. It marries well with it. It's so good, so good, and I find it adds to the action. Like like whoop, and it's so big. Like you really, it kind of emphasizes the impact, like the bigger the explosion, the bigger he'll make it on the page, and I think it helps emphasize like the impact of the action, or yeah, so well done. Yeah, so they finish their battle, Cheetah and her, and she wins them over. Diana, they're all cheering for her, so she becomes one of them. Uh, then she forgives Cheetah. Cheetah runs away, all upset.
It's mostly
Yeah,
because the leader of the people, of the survivors, is kind of a little shit. Like
he's a bit
he
of a
wanted to
dick.
take
Yeah,
Wonder Woman as a wife, and like that's why she ended up in the gladiator pit. And you end up finding out he's been abusing Cheetah for like
all
decades and
this
stuff.
time.
So like that's why Cheetah's bailed because Diana wouldn't let her attack and kill the boss man,
Yeah,
who
and
ends up
now,
being a pretty cool character himself.
yeah, he has a redemption arc, a little bit, a quick little redemption arc. Um, well, I mean, it's people do. You never know what's gonna happen. Dystopian. All the rules are out. Like you throw the rule books out, right? Society's crumbled, so you just don't live by the same rules anymore, right? No one, everyone's out. You got to police yourself, right? There's no government there to put laws and uphold them, so it's
Yeah,
hard. You never know how people will turn out. And at the end of that first issue, then she's like, I'm taking you guys to Themyscira, where she's from. She's gonna go try to find her people.
because she
Yeah,
thinks it's still nice and green and happy there.
well, yeah, she's not sure, right? She's hoping. So yeah. Yeah. So then book two skips right to it, and right away there's a battle. Right, you open up the second book, right? That's that's issue one, or was there two issues in that? Yeah, that's all one issue. They're pretty good sized issues, actually. I think they're all 48-page issues, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you get some good story per issue. It was a 4-issue Black Label series. Mm,
I think it was about 50 pages an issue or 48 pages.
yeah,
So
48, something like that. It was a double, at least a double giant size or whatever in the prestige format. So then it goes back and you see her fighting uh,
this
when she's much
giant
younger,
Hydra.
training.
Oh,
Yeah, like you see her training, right? Because that's a flashback. You open issue two with a flashback when she's younger and she's training. Is it her aunt that trains her?
forget
You're
what her
not.
name. Nubia,
Yeah.
I think is the character's name. She keeps having to.
Yeah. Nubia. Yeah. Nubia is training her. Mm, yeah, and you see like she has a lot. Like she's so strong, she can't control her powers, and talks to them. Talks. Yeah. Like you're gonna have to be careful, and that's where her bracelets come in to help her be able to control her power, so she doesn't just go crazy and destroy things in battle. And then from the flashback, you get back to the present time. They threw the old leader into jail. They're talking to him, and that's where they kind of resolve some issues. Goes into the town with the kids, getting ready for their journey. Uh, that character, I can't remember but he's like a gadget guy, so he fixed a lot of stuff with the bat belt. She puts the bat belt back on. So now they're ready for their trek out to. That's a great double. Like it's full of stuff like that. These double page splashes, man.
Oh yeah, he loves his big illustrated splashes.
So now she's got her crew, her little crew, her army to take them to. How do you pronounce that? Hemistakara or whatever.
Themyscira?
Hemiscara. Yeah. So she's taking everyone there because she thinks that'll be their salvation. Is once they get there, everything will be fine. So they're on a journey to go there. So now they're traveling. Then there's a scene where they camp, and then you go to a flash. She's sitting by the fire, and then you get a flashback, and that's where they introduce the bracelets to subdue her powers a bit. So she's kind of daydreaming while staring into the fire, and whoop, she's pulled out of her daze, her daydreaming, because lo and behold, there's another monster. This book is full of monsters. If you like monsters, fighting giant freaking monsters, man, this book is full of it. Like there's a lot of action, but always in his books, I think there's always quite a bit of action. So then they're
Yeah.
called to arms. They're fighting this giant freaking monster. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then it's funny because she's like powerful and stuff, but she grabs the Jeep and then just drives it off the cliff into the monster's mouth. Like it's so wild, right? Like drives that Jeep right off into the monster's mouth. Yeah, and just starts slashing and like pulls. Yeah, that's it. She stabs it, and she grabbed the gas can out of the Jeep as it's falling. And then she starts pouring gasoline down its throat, and then throws. I guess she had the bat belt had a Zippo in it, which is very convenient. After pouring gasoline down its throat, she throws the Zippo down its throat, and boom, just blows up that motherfucker. So freaking cool. Like there's so like we could spend 2 hours just going from page to page on this book because there's so many great scenes where they're fighting. So then they finally get to where they're going, and meets up with Nubia. The catacombs. She goes down. And then she finds out that her mother, like many others, was afflicted by the explosion. Yeah, that's it.
That's
And
looks
to
like
her
one of your
horror,
old drawings, Hanjo. That's when I
yeah,
saw that. Every time I see that, I'm like, reminds me of one of Joe's old drawings.
yeah. And then the horror in her face when she sees that her mom has been mutated from exposure to from the explosions. Yeah. And then they show scenes of the people like just from
And this
the
is when the book goes from like being really odd and quirky to like being full on insane. Like the places the story goes after this, like I can't believe like they let him take it there, but like it is so cool that they do. Like
mm, yeah, she starts the mother starts trying to well, take advantage of her daughter's love, and then D, I think you said it was her name was D, comes and just slices both her hands off because she's holding her and kind of yeah. And then Nubia's there too, but you think it's her. You're not sure because she has the helmet on, right? So you don't know what she looks like. But she's got the same armor, so she's fighting. So they're fighting her. Then he has some pages with some amazing rain sequences. Always, always fun. So he drew a little bit of everything because when they leave the other place, there's snow.
snow.
Now there's rain, so he draws in like this is a tour de force for like when it comes to the art. He does a little bit of everything in this, you know. Oh man, this is one thing I gotta hand him. He does so many splash pages, it's insane. Just so
Yeah,
freaking cool. Yeah, that's
that's
Cheetah
probably the
shows up.
best one on
Cheetah
Pegasus.
shows,
Yeah,
yeah, Cheetah shows up on Pegasus to save the day. Mm, yeah, bam, hits Nubia. Then Nubia punches her. She punches her back. Like the action sequences are fantastic with the lightning in the rain. Then her helmet comes off, and you see how she's mutated. She
yeah, dude.
has
Like
like these
I
things
wish I
growing
clipped
from
it,
each
like, cause
eye.
yeah, straight up, she's just got like roots growing out from of where her eyes should be. I don't know how
Kind
else to
of,
say it besides roots, right?
kind of Last of Us style, you know. Let's see which panel is it. It's that bottom one right there. Yeah, she's got like roots, like you can't see her eyes anymore. Yeah, yeah. Really cool stuff. So she's disheartened and like her world's crumbling around her now, Diana. So yeah, she's trying to come to terms with it. Cheetah comes. So they have that little moment where they're like, man, the world's just gone to shit. So that's issue 2. Then issue 3 starts with another flashback where her and Cheetah are sitting always by the fires. And these flashbacks are always when they're sitting by the fires, telling their stories, which is cool.
What?
I think that's a nice little kind of, there's a quiet moment where they're sitting there and just talking. And that this is where I think they explain the war between man and her people, which
Yeah. How the apocalypse happened, basically. Yeah.
yeah, what was the catalyst for dropping that atomic bomb? So her people were at war with with man, with humankind. Uh, Cheetah gets captured, and they do experiments on her. So then, man, they're like, let's. Did they get into that much detail? Okay, that's what they're talking about that a little bit more. And that's where her and Cheetah explains what happened to her and all the crap she went through with all the experiments, and that's why she is the way she is. So then more monsters show up from her mother in Nubia. They're gathering an army of those monsters, those mutated monsters, and the other crew are starting to gather their forces. Oh, that's the redemption. And the third one is his little arc. The former leader gets his redemption arc where Dee steals her lasso of truth and puts it around his wrist and starts interrogating him. And in the end, he's like, everything he did wasn't to be malicious. He just wanted to help. And then you see that, he just probably didn't go about it in the right way. And she sort of forgives him and lets him have a second chance. Yeah, so then Cheetah and while this is going on, Cheetah and Wonder Woman take the Pegasus and are flying to the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, they touch on all the big hitters, man. The Trinity, they touch on them. So that's another double splash page. And this book is visually, man, you can't get any better than this book. So they show up to the Fortress of Solitude, get to the door, it opens, and you have this. They're greeted by this robotic Superman cyborg thing that welcomes them at the door. Oh, wait, there's a glare. See, there's like this robot thing. Welcomes them at the door. They go in and, well, come to find out, Superman is dead as well. So her world's just friggin' like her world's just crumbling around her. Her mom's mutated and she's evil. Nubia, who was her mentor, is evil as well, and they're controlling these monsters which are attacking innocent people. Bruce, she wakes up to Bruce. When she first wakes up, Bruce is dead. Now she comes to the realization that Clark is dead as well. Kal-El, I think, is his Kryptonian name.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kal-El is dead, and that's where she has a flashback to when the bombs were let loose. Yeah. There's a scene where the bombs are let loose. Superman was there during the fight. And of course, he was fighting. Superman always fights for the humans until they launch those, and he was pissed. So this is where her mother takes off Wonder Woman's wristbands to go up into the sky to stop the nukes, because now she's going to need all her power to do this. Another great freaking page, man. Yeah, another great page where she goes up to to confront the nukes. And is it just her, or does he join her? No, it's just her. She's flying. Okay, when she takes off her bands, she has enough power where she can fly. So she goes and tries to take out all the nukes, but there's too many. She can't do it. She gets a lot of them, but a lot of them, make it through, hit the targets, and that's where she loses it. She just goes atomic, and Superman shows up, and oh my god, more action. These action sequences are fucking fantastic, man. She just, oh yeah, that shot where she punches him right in the kisser. Look at that, so fucking good. Boom! Just a sonic boom from cracking Superman in the face. So cool, so goddamn cool. Yeah, so they get into a, oh man, there's like, I think this whole third issue, the second half of this whole third issue is just action panel after action panel of just big time major throwdown between Superman and Wonder Woman. And I mean, it's so good. Look at Superman's lip. Like the boxers, when they get hit. Look how good that is. Is that not so fantastic? With the kick and everything? And it's just too good. It's just too damn good. Love it. Yeah. Yeah. So she pretty much kicks Clark's butt, and then they end up back at the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, and this is where she has like she's starting to come back. Like she wiped this from her memory. Like now that she sees his body, it's all flooding back to her. She kind of blacked this out, and yeah, she takes some kryptonite and uses it as like, grabs it in her fist to give her, and starts punching him with kryptonite in her hands to hurt him even more. I mean, it's just fantastic. And then it goes through. Mm. And then just from the trauma of all these memories coming back, she passes out. She loses it from her beaten up. Like, it's just too much, and she wakes up. Mm. You have the flashback of Bruce before he was dead, and she doesn't realize what she's done. Till now. Now it all comes flooding back. So good, so good. And then Dee uses the lasso of truth on her. And then that's where she has her little emotional breakdown. Yeah, where she couldn't save the world and she feels guilty that she let her anger overcome her. And then there's that badass scene after where she gets her new weapon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she
That's
just
what I was saying,
rips.
like where it goes insane. Yeah, like it gets
Yeah,
like full on Mandy metal because she puts his skull and spine on the lasso of truth and basically uses it as like this like super
whip.
flail because it's like
Yeah,
Superman's
yeah,
bone, so it's unbreakable.
yeah, yeah. This it's just, you know he's known
Badass.
for, yeah, he's known for his badassery. Like, it's so good. And then the fourth issue, that closes out. That's the last page of the third issue. That's what they close on. Like, yeah, no, it's getting crazy. And she has more flashbacks of Bruce when he puts her into the incubator, because he knows they'll need her later on to, if there's any chance of saving the planet. So she has a little flashback there. Then the old leader's back to redeem himself to help them lead the fight against her mother and Nubia. Then you have the huge fight sequence at the end, which are, I mean, it's just, I keep repeating myself on it. It's just, I mean, it's just fantastic panels after fantastic panels, man. It's great. It's great. Like just where she uses the Superman skull whip. Like here's another great panel with the Superman skull whip. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy good. Like these are the fucking comics I love, man. Where you just new ideas, like just taking it to like an extreme like that. It's fantastic. Then they have the covers gallery at the end. Then you have the huge, just the face off between Wonder Woman, her mother, and Nubia at the end with the village of people. Some fantastic action sequences. Yeah. Mm.
There's some really good twists in this book too that I didn't see coming. Like I really enjoyed it when I read it. Like finding out about like Wonder Woman and how she got into that incubator. There's a bit that Joe left out that's going to be a lot of fun when you actually
Yeah,
read it for yourself because there's some really good zingers that we he omitted, which is really good idea in
yeah.
my opinion.
Like I like a lot of the stuff I said, a lot of it is stuff you see on the covers. Like the Superman skull thing, you see it on one of the covers. And a lot of people were talking about that. That was like one of the big things everyone talked about was the Superman skull whip thing, which was
Yeah,
fucking boss, man. That was yeah. Like that's the cover here. One of the covers was this one. Yeah, where she's just swinging. That's Superman's skull and stuff, and people just went crazy for that. People loved it. They ate it up. They ate it up. Yeah,
well, I
so
mean, like what
man,
this was going for, like it really nailed it. It really like
oh yeah,
stands on that high pantheon of like the Elseworlds greatness with stuff like
mm,
Batman Year 100, and, Dark Knight Returns. Like I really
mm,
think that this
yeah.
stands with those.
And I mean, it's I love the format. The hardcover is beautiful. You got the slip cover, everything. It was like I double dipped because I bought the singles and then I went and bought the like that's the cover underneath the slipcase. It's a textured cover, which is really cool. Like
Yeah, it
I
is
double
cool.
dipped because it was that good. Like I won't call this a perfect comic, but man, it comes pretty damn close.
Yeah,
Pretty damn close.
it's an 8.5.
Yeah, I've read a lot of his other stuff, and this is still my favorite. Maybe because it's the
Really?
first thing. Maybe, but I thinking it's because it's the first thing I read from him. So this was my first exposure to him. So I was like, oh my god. So I think that's probably why. But man, I've read Do a Power Bomb, Murder Falcon. This did I read? I haven't read. He drew Ghost Fleet, but he didn't write it. I haven't
Yeah,
read
that's
that one yet.
Donny Donny Cates' best
Donny
book.
Cates. Then he did Externity or Eternity. What was the other
Extremity.
one? Extremity. That's it. That's his sci-fi one.
That's my favorite one that he
That's
did.
your favorite one. I still haven't read that one. That's the one I have left to read from him. That he wrote that one as well. That was his first.
Yeah, that was his
Uh,
first like
yeah.
all in one. Because before that, I think he did like a 6 issue Alabaster series. He did the third arc of
Okay.
that. He worked with Donny Cates, and I think he did Space Mullet before he did.
Okay.
Was actually the first thing that he wrote. But like I think that was like his indie shit, and Dark Horse just reprinted that.
Yeah, that's cool. Mm, mm. Which one? Yeah, you want to do next, man?
Next up, I want to talk about Simon Dark, written by
Yeah.
Steve Niles with art by Scott Hampton. This is probably one of my favorite DC comics ever. Like, it's lettered by Todd Klein and colored by Chris Chirsky and Daniel Vozo. So, yeah, in this book, like I like the way that Joe put it because the character, he's like this really neat kind of patchwork slasher Mike Myers looking guy. But that's the neat thing about him is the character himself is such a patchwork of different tropes
And
and old
yeah,
stories put together. Like you'll see like some Frankenstein. Like I said, you'll see some Michael Myers from Halloween in Simon Dark. You'll see some Oliver Twist. You said a
like
couple others, Joe.
Like it gave me like the Crow vibes too.
Yeah.
Then just his sweater is like Freddy Krueger-ish, like the with a striped sweater. I mean, there's so many little things that I think like he was like, I just love all this stuff, so I'm gonna put it into this characters, and it's kind of, you got the Edward Scissorhand type storyline too, where the father puts them together, and
It's
then
like a
all of a
cute
sudden,
teen
yeah,
romance too. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's got almost a little bit of everything in it. In he's like, and the way they start off, you don't know anything, right? You don't know the character. They just throw you into this world, and he shows up in the first scene, like in the graveyard, right? It just starts there.
Yeah. It just starts. There's these guys. They're like holding a man at gunpoint. Saying some culty stuff to him, and Simon just shows up and basically decapitates one dude with a wire, and the
Yeah,
others kind
mhm,
of cut out.
true.
And like he saves this dude, and like he's like, "Hey, can I do anything for you? Because you helped me." And he's like, "Can you give me some food?" And the guy's like, gives him some money and runs off. And
Yeah,
Simon kind of goes about.
that's page 3 and 4. Boom, he's already like cut someone's. That's your introduction. 3 and 4. Issue 1, page 3 and 4. He's already cut someone's head off. So you're like, what the fuck, man? Like right away, you don't know. And so the first impression I got from that is you think it's going to be like, especially the title, Simon Dark. I'm like, whoa, this is going to be really dark. But then as I read it, you explained to me, like, yeah, it's revealed, right? So,
Yeah, you kind of find out about his upcoming and stuff, but like at this point you don't really understand how innocent he is. It's kind of revealed later in the book, but he kind of keeps going on, and you meet these other characters. You meet this girl Rachel who's just moving to town with her dad. You meet the
dad,
lady that works in the morgue. I think
the coroner,
is her name Karen, something like that. And you got Officer Kirk, who is kind of like this
Kirk.
magic person himself. He kind of works within the same kind of underworld that Simon kind of exists in. And there's also like an evil side, and like you kind of meet this zombie henchman guy named
Yeah,
Vincent, who
yeah,
like one of my favorite things ever, man. Him putting his eyeball in the wall.
yeah. I think that's an issue too, right? Or at the end of issue 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right here.
yeah, yeah. And then like the first hint is at the end of the first issue, you have the father and daughter, like you said, that are just moving into town, and then Simon shows up, and there's a box outside as they're bringing stuff in. He goes to the moving the U-Haul, and he sees a book and he takes it, but he doesn't just steal it. He leaves $1, right?
Yeah,
So that it's not like he's stealing. It's like he bought it or borrowed it from her. So that's where you get your first little hint that, oh, maybe he's not as dark and evil as you may think. There's that little, you know, pure side to him, innocent side to him. Yeah.
yeah. And then like after that, he kind of like goes home, and like you see that like he has a little cat that he
Yeah, he
takes
stops at the
care of. And
grocery store. Yeah, you get a little hint of it. You don't know right away, but then now that I'm looking back on it, now I realize it. You see a little hint where he stops at the grocery store on his way home back to the cemetery, and that's where you see in his hand there's that one panel where he has a box of cat food, and then he sneaks in. There's no one there. Boop, takes all this stuff, leaves the cash on the counter. So there's another instance of how innocent and honest and he is, right? He won't steal, like he leaves the money. So you see he's not a bad person. Yeah. And then that's where you see his cat, like you said, starts reading the book he stole. That's the end of issue 1.
yeah, and
Yeah.
issue 2 is where we kind of really start getting world building. We get introduced to kind of like our first somewhat villain is called Eddie Machete, who's like this slasher. And he's kind of a
Yeah, it's such a
dipshit.
good name. It's such a good name too, eh? Eddie Machete.
And like Simon actually has him like his ass beat and stuff, but the cops show up and like shoot Simon instead. And he kind of meets our other heroes at this point because he gets took into the coroner's office, and so he meets the coroner lady and like has his first real run in with Officer Kirk, which is pretty cool. He like bails on them, but um
Did you show the panel? I was looking down. Did you show the panel where he gets shot?
No,
Oh, that's a good panel. That's such a beautiful panel where the cops turn on him. But I mean, what like you could be like, oh, stupid cops, but dude has like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre mask on, right? So, dude,
it's
I'd
Gotham
probably
City, bro. Like,
I'd have probably shot his ass too if I was a cop. Yeah, so that's yeah, like you said, he gets shot, and that's how he ends up. That's how it leads to him meeting the coroner. Mm, yeah, like you said. Yeah, but I mean, come on, that's a creepy fucking mask.
yeah, it
Like, I
looks
mean,
it looks like if that kid Wolf, Finhart or whatever from Stranger Things was in Slipknot, like what he'd look like.
yeah, it's definitely got like Slipknot vibes to it. There's another thing you call it, like, yeah, yeah. So, like you said, he gets shot. They bring him to the coroner's, and yeah. So I'll let you keep going with it from there.
He bails and basically he goes back to his place, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they're like, oh, like there's something weird, right? They're like, what the fuck? And then they hear a noise, and oh, the body's gone off the table. So they're like, what the fuck? But then he's hiding, and this is where you get a really real sense of how innocent he is, right? Like,
yeah, because he's just
like
like, I want to go home.
I want to go home. That's where you get like a feel of, okay, this isn't a full adult. Like he's still a young, you know, maybe not a child, but he's still young where he seeks shelter at home from his, like, yeah, want to go home. He has that childlike like innocence to him, and that's where you really get a real feeling for it for the first time is when he's hiding under the table and he's scared and then he just takes off running and he bails like you said. Yeah. Mm. Then there's that great panel too. It just sells it. You see his eyes and everything.
Yeah,
Like that sells the innocence, right? He's like, I just want to go home, and wide eyed. You see, he's afraid. Yeah. So it adds that extra element to the character, which is great.
and yeah, basically, the dude Vince, like I said, he like takes his eyeball out and he puts it in the wall
Yeah.
so he can see if Simon comes home and like what's kind of going on there. Meanwhile, the corner lady, she goes to this little bodega type place, where the little teen girl, Rachel, is as well, and nobody's upstairs, so they kind of go downstairs and they find out that um, Simon comes to them for help, and like they ask the corner lady to help him, but because of what just happened, Simon freaks out and like runs again, and the girl Rachel chases him, and outside Eddie Machete is in a van, and he sees her and decides that like, oh man, he's gonna keep his spree going. So that
Hmm.
kind of leads us into issue 3,
Yeah.
which
Exactly.
has like this really, really great nightmare scene in it, man, where like Simon kind of just kind of remembers something from some kind of weird childhood. Really, really neat imagery. Like I cannot put into words how awesome Scott Hampton's art is in this book.
Yeah. It
Just
goes
so
it goes black and white. Like this is the opening page. It's a splash page opening like issue 3. That's pages 2 and 3. Like this book does a fantastic job with its openings, right? Like issue 1, the opening, right away there's that action, the head gets cut off. Issue 3, you have this opening, like the flashback dream sequence. Like you said, it's fantastic too the way they handle it with the black and white, so you know it's part of the past, him remembering stuff. Fantastic. And like you said, the art, oh, it's good stuff. Like his art matches the tone of this book perfectly. Like I mean, it just this is where the art and the story go well together. It goes hand in hand. It just adds to the story. It's great. Mm.
right. And then Simon takes off running and like he basically starts thinking that this is all happening to him because he did something bad, and he thinks of the book that he took, and like even though he left $1, he still thinks that like he did something bad, so he goes to try to return the book, and he finds Eddie Machete about to move in on Rachel, and like he's going to just straight up decapitate him with a hacksaw. Like it's a really funny scene, and the girl's like, "Don't, you can't do that," and like he's like, "Why not?" So he doesn't really quite understand like the violence that even he perpetrates, or that he just kind of knows it and sees how it works, but like he doesn't understand the ramifications of it, which kind of comes into play later,
Yeah.
but which causes him to go home and get the book, and then he goes to her house, and when he goes back to his place, Vincent sees that's where uh, Simon lives, and he goes there, and basically he kills Simon's cat while Simon is delivering Eddie Machete to the police. And we also get this really, really, I love this scene so much. I mean, it's so corny, but when they see each other on the rooftops and they're
Yes,
running
that's
together,
that's the opening of issue 4, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's I love that. Yeah, me too. I had that as a note. Like, such a great scene.
And then
Yeah, where they
after, because the coroner comes over and talks to her, and she's like, "Are you okay? That was, I could hear your head hit that pole from the van." And
yeah, from the
it's
van. Yeah,
and she plays it off as like after she leaves, her and Simon have this other little interaction, which I don't know, like I'm not really too into like chick flick type stuff, but like when they do really cute stuff like that, I like it. I think it works really well. And with the
but
kind of nerdy characters, I thought that like the way that they played that scene was really really touching. Really one of the
yeah,
best scenes like that I've seen in a comic.
yeah, it plays off. It plays into that innocence too of the character, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And this is the issue where you say where his cat gets
Yeah, he
where
goes home
Vincent
and like finds
mm, where they have the that's where what's the cop's name again? Is it Keegan?
yeah, Simon goes out and he finds the two girls. They're like kind of in the park, and he's like, "Can you help Kitty? Like he's not
Mm-hmm.
moving." And they kind of explain to him like, "Simon, like the cat's dead." Like, and they explain to him like, and he didn't understand. So he realizes that at the beginning of the book, that guy that he killed, and like he kind of has like a moral crisis at that moment and really flips out,
Yeah.
which like really endeared me to the character when I was first reading this series, because you never kind of get that with a lot of anti-hero books, because like a lot of the other books we read tonight, the guys kill people because it's cool and kind of broody, and I kind of got that feeling right at the beginning with him doing the backflip and cutting the guy's head off. But then you get to the part where like he realizes that like, oh, that's what I did. Oh,
Hmm.
and like I don't know, I really like the way that Steve Niles played that. I thought that it
Yeah.
really hit you
Yeah.
right in the feels.
Yeah. The panel when he realizes, like, oh shit, all this time, like he didn't realize what, like how final death is, like because he was, you kind of realize from the, like he's made up of all these different pieces, kind of like a Frankenstein, right? And he doesn't realize that he's come back. But normal people, you can't do that. You can't just sew their head back on and they keep living, And that's when he realizes, oh shit, all this time. Now he's starting to grasp the finality of death, and it's such a great moment, like you said, the way Steve Niles did it. It was fantastic. Then he has that little flashback scene. They do the panel where he flashes back. Such a great little panel. Where his flashbacks are floating around his head, but in like a red hue. So that's like him thinking back. It's so well done. It's like I love that. It's really well done. Instead of having a whole flashback scene, they just put like the two images floating beside his head in a different color. Really well. That's a great panel the way they did that.
Yeah, saved a lot of time. You knew exactly what
Yeah,
they were hinting at,
exactly.
and
Yeah, one panel, no lettering, nothing. Just, well, he does say something, but like, and it just says so much, that one panel. Yeah. Then then of course he's pissed because of his cat, right? So.
yeah, and then we get this really kind of cool car set piece where like Simon's on the roof tearing the roof off of this like BMW, trying to pull Vincent out of it, and like they go through this church window. It's
Mm.
a really great
But
scene. There's this nun praying, and
but I but I love how he transitions, right? Because now he's starting to realize, right, the finality of death. Then it dawns on him like now his cat's gone. He's never coming back. You can't put the head back on. So he goes from all this anxiety and feeling bad about killing people to this overwhelming anger takes him over because now he realizes his cat's dead forever, right? So then this overwhelming anger comes over him, and that's when he goes after Vincent for killing his cat. It's great how you have that shift in emotion from the realization that death is final, right? And then it's like he goes off the rails, right? He wants his revenge for killing the cat, kind of John Wick style.
Yeah, don't fuck with people's pets, man.
Yeah, yeah. You'll, you're gonna get fucking fucked up. Yeah.
And it's really cool. Like, he catches him and he kind of beats the hell out of him a little bit, and like, he's gonna
Yeah.
kill him, I think. And Officer Kirk comes up and he's like, Simon, you can't do that. You're too good. And they both like have one of Vincent's arms and they're like kind of fighting over him, and like they're doing tug of war, and they literally like rip one of his arms off, and like they fall down, and like Vincent gets up and runs away with like only one arm, and like they start laughing. It's a really great scene. Like I
Yeah.
love.
After he runs away, they're kind of laying on the ground because they both fall when his arms rip off. They look at each other, and there's that one pause. Then, like, the next panel is them laughing. Yeah, I have it right here. Yeah, where they just the arms come off, and then they look at each other and just start cracking up. That was good. I like that. It doesn't. It definitely has a little bit of everything. Like you have the emotional parts, the funny parts. It's a well balanced book, very well balanced. Like humor, you know. Yeah, it runs the gamut of emotions. It's good. This issue was probably my favorite. This one actually. No, issue
Yeah.
5. What's the issue? What's the one? It's issue 4. They run into the post, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, so I like issue 4 too. They're all good actually, man. They're
Yeah,
all really good.
it's a really good opening arc. I really like the way
Mhm.
they didn't really yeah, the whole kind of 18 issue thing is the origin story. You don't really get the whole story until the end of it, which I think was really smartly played. And I think it's a good payoff. It was a nice length series. We're only going to cover like the opening 6 issues here, but um and yeah, after that, like the sixth issue, it kind of basically just explains a little bit more of how Simon was put together, black
Yeah.
magic and sand and kind of DC voodoo magic stuff, which is really cool. And it also kind of explains the culty guys a little bit and their plans for what's going to come up with the soap. If you continue reading, you're going to like learn about
Yeah.
that, which is a
That
really kind of cool plot that I've never seen in anything horror before. So like I really
and it's
like.
and it's cool when he's trying to remember, like where the faces are scribbled out. Like he doesn't remember faces.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool when he's like having like flashbacks and trying to remember, and they all the faces he can't see faces. They're all scribbled out from his past. Like he's having a hard time remembering what people look like. And I thought that part was pretty cool. So it leaves the mystery. Like it'll be revealed to you at the same time it gets revealed to him again. And I like that aspect of the story. Keeps a little bit of mystery.
And they don't really introduce too many more people outside of the storyline. It's really cool. Like all the people that are introduced here are integral to what's going to happen, and it all just plays out really cool. I think it was a really nice, really tight little series. I would have liked to seen a lot more of it. I love the character. Like I talk about it all the time. Like I said, I've made a couple of videos where I've spoken about it,
Um,
and
One of the things I love, because I read this in singles, like in floppy form, and one of the things I really loved, and I noticed from a couple of the series, like Lobo, I read in the and floppies, is like part of it is like the ads, right? It's just a flashback to
the
what was
time.
it? Yeah, you see the ad and you're like, oh fuck yeah, I remember that. It's so cool. What was the Resistance was one. They had fucking cool ad in it. It's where the aliens, like where there's a little kid alien with the face. It's in issue 2. Like in the back, you have the ad for Bioshock, one of my favorite games. You're like, oh yeah, that came out in 2008. Issue 2 has the Resistance ad, which is really cool. Like, that's one thing I liked about. Like you get all the stupid little ads, but the Resistance one was the one. At first, I wasn't sure because it almost had almost the same. Like, oh, here it is. You know, such a great ad. And I was like, is that part of the story? Because it almost had like a similar vibe and tone to his art, right? I was like, wait a minute, what is this? Then you turn the page and you get like it explains on the following page what it is, and it's a video game Resistance Fall of Man. I think that's the third installment from the Resistance series, but I get a kick out of that when I read the old floppies, like the old ads and stuff. So that was pretty cool. I got a kick out of that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. That's when I read Lobo too. Then it goes really far back, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah, that's like
really.
90. Yeah, that came out in 90. The Lobos series. Any? What are your final words on Simon Dark, man?
Like I said, man, like I really would like to see more from the character. I don't understand like why he's never been brought up in like Justice League Dark or like Gotham Monsters or anything like that because
Hmm.
he like literally lives in Gotham City. I guess I don't know, if you read the series all the way through, he does leave, but like he's still a
Yeah.
Gotham City character. So
See, when you told me like, and they even advertise it on the top, you know, of issue one, Gotham City's other protector, right? That's like the tagline that they use to sell the book. And I didn't find they played into the city angle that much. Like they
no,
mentioned it a
because it's
little
all
bit.
about the one neighborhood, like because it
Yeah,
takes place
that's
in the
it.
village, which is like a neighborhood in um Gotham.
Yeah, but I would have liked to see more hints. Like you see it. I think at one point you see newspaper clipping. Like, I would have liked to have seen a lot more like little hints like that of it.
They never actually do though. They like not even
Yeah,
Batgirl shows up in it, which is weird. Like
yeah.
usually with anything that has anything to do with Gotham, like they shove at least one, at least the smaller Bat family in there, but like no one shows up
But
in this
but
book.
I don't even care like if Batman doesn't make an appearance, but like have a newspaper on a desk with like maybe a headline of Batman or something, and maybe a TV in the background with a news thing talking about like something about Gotham, like the Joker, or so then it kind of roots it into like that it's in Gotham, even though you don't. It's not a part of that bigger story, but you can like it roots it into that city, like it's the same city that Batman is in, like that's one thing I was like, okay, I was expecting more of that because the tagline was Gotham City's other protector. So I thought they were going to try to root that story a little bit more into the whole Gotham mythos, but yeah, but it was very good, man. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I'm really happy you were able to get into it finally because I know you were interested for a while, and that's
Mhm.
cool that you were able to like at least get some of the floppies. You have almost the whole run. You're missing like what, 6 issues?
Yeah, I got up to 13. Fulci sent me it right up to issue 13.
Okay, so you're
So
missing 5 issues. Cool.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And they were supposed to put out Clover Press. I saw something a while back that they were supposed to put out the hardcover edition of it, but that fell through for some reason. It never came to be. So mm,
Damn.
yeah, because I would have ordered that. It's definitely a great design. Very cool looking character. Mm. All right, which book? We're gonna do my book next, or did you want to do yours?
Yeah, we're gonna do Lobo.
Lobo.
This
Yeah,
fucking book.
yeah. So
I,
basically,
I never actually read this before, man. So like I was expecting something totally different the way it was hyped up all the years to me because everybody was always like, "Oh, I don't know, man. Like he's like basically like DC's Wolverine and he's like a heavy metal character." Like I didn't get that from this book at all.
no.
This thing's like a so 2000 AD magazine, which if anybody
Yeah.
told me it was like that, I would have read it like years before.
Mm. Well, you
But
got Alan Grant and Simon Bisley, right? So you can't help but have it give off 2080 vibes, right?
well, I didn't expect it to be so 2000 AD though. I thought they were gonna like phone it in like a lot of those other guys do when they write for DC. I didn't think that it was
Mhm.
going to be like their brand of humor. I thought they were just going to write, a generic American comic is what I was really expecting. Whereas this, like, man, this is so slapstick. It goes Bugs Bunny in some places. Like,
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
is. I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. I quite enjoyed the first arc a lot, dude.
Yeah, and basically the story is Lobo. who works for Legion because he made a deal and he's a man of his word. He never breaks his word.
He's the main man, which you'll
He's the
learn if you
main
read.
man. Yeah, he likes to say how he's the main man all the time. And he made a deal with the leader of the Legion, which is Vox, Vil Dox or Vox, whatever his name is. Anyway, so he sends him on a mission to go uh, escort a prisoner back to their base. And anyway, obviously he has attitude, right? So every time he talks to him, he's yelling and bitching at him. Uh, so it starts
Mm.
off. Actually, it starts off with him in like deep thought with
It kind of starts off with
his
him bitching even before the guy calls.
yeah bitching kind of with his penguins because those penguins are like his
Actually,
thing.
with
Like
dolphins this time.
not penguins, dolphins. Yeah, sorry, dolphins. Those are his pets. Like those. I think the only thing that Lobo's ever cared about are those damn dolphins. Right. That's the only thing he's ever cared about. They make an appearance in I think the Justice League International that he has an appearance in where he fights the Justice League. The Dolphins are in there. They make a small appearance. Uh, yeah, so yeah, so that's pretty much the only thing he ever really has any kind of real feelings for. But even then, he has to play the tough guy, right? I'm just there to protect them because they need protecting. But he never admits that he cares for them. So anyway, he gets sent to I don't remember the name of the planet to get this prisoner to escort them back to the base from where it is. And it starts off with someone wrote a unofficial biography about Lobo by a certain author, and that's the little twist of the story. It's not a huge twist, but ends up that he wants to kill the person that wrote his biography because he finds it very unflattering. And come to find out the little twist, like it's not a complicated story, really. Like you said, it's just the hijinks and shit that happens in the story. He happens to have to escort the prisoner is the person who actually wrote his biography. So, but he doesn't know that yet. And in the book, they take pages from the like if you're they throw pages in it from the actual book of Lobo's biography, and it actually goes into pretty good depth about uh, how his race of people died at his hands, and how they were like the perfect society till he was born.
Yeah,
So they
no
go into
sickness, no illness, nothing
no
until.
illness, no conflict, uh, slight disagreements where they had amicable resolution. Uh, so like it goes into detail, which is a fun little read, and it gives you a lot of like background and builds the character up, like his origins, his past. So you get these little chapters throughout these chapter breaks. It's almost like chapter breaks within each issue. So he goes to the compound to pick up the prisoner. And as soon as someone's a little bit like he's the rudest asshole in the world, but as soon as someone's rude to him, well, you forget that he's gonna kick your ass. Yeah. What's this panel? Which one was that one?
Oh,
That's where he rides in. Oh, that's
that's
after
after
he
he.
picked up the prisoner.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. That's his no
fourth
fifth grade
grade.
teacher, fourth grade teacher. Ends up being his fourth grade teacher is the one who wrote the biography on him. And when he finds this is him, when he finds out it's her, when he goes to pick up the prisoner, he is fucking pissed. And it's this cute, kind of weird looking. So he's not the last of his race after all, because the whole story of Lobo is he's the last of his race. Then he finds out his fourth grade teacher's still alive. So then he's all pissed because he's not as special anymore. That's his whole thing, right? Yeah. So he picks her up and starts coming back. Then there's a bunch of groups. There's one group that are like Lobo fan club, right? And they read his biography and they're pissed. So they want to go beat up and kill the author of the book. You get this other group of what are they
These old
called?
ladies that don't like her because
The
she's not moral. Yeah.
purity like society where they go and punish people for. It's almost like like almost like a religious group. Like, yeah, you have to be pure and anything that's
Yeah,
not.
they're like
Anyway,
they do censorship and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah,
is there?
yeah, exactly. So they want to go and get her. So now you're getting these groups of people that want to find Lobo and her to like exact their revenge and stuff. But there's one more group that's going to be added. Is after he picks her up from the panel you showed, they stop off at this restaurant space diner,
Truck stop.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
she
truck
pisses off all
stop.
these space truckers, man.
There's space truckers, right? And that's where Lobo gets into the first big fight in the book, where he just kicks
This one is
their
actually pretty mild. Like there's no blood in this one. Like it kind of after this one
no,
really ratchets up fast.
yeah, the first issue you get. This is your first intro of like Lobo comes out of the washroom and she starts pissing him off. So then he's like, frag, because he has to bring her back alive, and he's a man of his word, so he
Yeah, he
has to bring
promised
her
he won't
back.
kill her until she's in custody.
Yeah, that's it. Bring her back alive until into my custody. That's the key words. And they kept the leader there. What's his name? Like, did you repeat it several times that he had to bring her back alive? He's like, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And that's his. He has a big like hidden plan,
Yeah.
like for sending Lobo there to get her. He has like this big. It's quite fucking elaborate, really. That's
Well, because
just
there's more groups that get added to
get
the.
added on, and which all threaten uh, power, like
Yeah, they're
within
all
the
groups that
galaxy.
all
Groups
groups that
that,
need tightening up. Yeah, that need a little
yeah,
to be taken care of. They're getting a little too wild, a little too noticed.
yeah, a little too noticed, gaining a little too much power. That the power struggle he wants to maintain. Legion wants to maintain their power in the galaxy, so he's kind of using Lobo as a pawn to try to get these other groups taken care of. So then issue 2 comes out. They stop at a hotel.
Yeah.
Like this would be a 1 day trip, but because he's with this lady, it turns into, I think it takes a week. So he goes to this hotel. He goes to make a call to check in with the office. Uh, Hires this little guy with a propeller hat to watch the door, make sure the old lady doesn't leave. He's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. Makes his call, comes back. God damn it, the old lady's gone. His teacher that he hates is gone. Uh, so then later on in the issue, they went to the Rhapsody of Chainsaws, which is a space dance group.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's like a murder
which is what
ballet. It's
murder
like
ballet. Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to put it. Murder ballet. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, murder ballet where they grab chainsaws and cut people's heads off while they're dancing and shooting at them, dodging bullets, and it's all like a dance. Yeah,
and like
and
he
if
goes up in there to find the old lady and ends up outperforming them, so like he
yeah.
pisses them off, which is
Well, the
yeah,
crowd's loving it. The crowd's like, oh, it's so cool, it's so awesome, and this makes me think. You know how you're saying like I was saying, I love the cool stuff. In issue 2, you have the poster for Predator 2. They put an
oh,
insert where you put a little poster, and it's a poster for Predator 2. Yeah, it's a little pull-out poster for Predator 2, which is cool. Love that
hell
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it's still in the book too, so I'm pretty happy. Yeah, it's still in there. Yeah, Predator 2. So in the middle of the ballet, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. Then, like you said, because he one up them their performance, they get all pissy with him, and what do you know? Bilbo gets into another fight. But actually, these ones they actually put up a much better fight than those space truckers, because they actually made Lobo bleed a little bit. That's when he gets serious, man. That's where he starts pulling out the hook. He pulls his chain hook out and starts ripping them some new ones. And I mean, I love Simon Bisley's artwork, man. Like
As
just how
the
the
book
face is,
as the book
you
goes on,
know.
they just let him get wilder and wilder with it. They really let him
Yeah,
shine because at the beginning of the first issue, it kind of seemed like he was holding back a lot, but like um by issue 3, it seemed like they were like, yeah, no, people are loving this. Just do whatever you want, man.
yeah. See, that's him leaving what'd you call it? The murder ballet. Like
Yeah.
beat everybody up, and yeah, leaves with the old lady on his shoulder. Yeah, and that gets resolved. Is it
Yeah,
right in this?
how he makes sure the
Or is
old
it in
lady
issue
doesn't run
three?
away again.
Is it this issue or is it issue three? Let's see. You keep going. Yeah, this one. He's sick of like having to worry about the old lady running away, so he finds a very easy solution. He chops her legs off so she can't she can't walk anymore, so she can't get away. And that's where he's on his bike and she's like complaining about how he used like
Well,
unsanitized tools
she can regrow them though. Like it just will take a while. Like their race can
because
like
she's
actually
getting older.
regenerate.
Yeah, because she's older now, so she can't regenerate like she used to. So anyway, he took care of that for now. Mm. Oh, Chief Docs. Bill Docs is the guy's name. So he's happy as a pig in shit because all these groups he doesn't like now are want to find Lobo and fight him. So he's happy as shit. His plan's going better than he planned, better than he could have imagined. So he's got a smile the size of a smirk on his face. But
Something's about to get chain up, gum up his whole plan, which is probably the most ridiculous thing that happens in this whole series. Man, this next part, like I really
yeah,
lost it when I
I
got to it.
just marked. Wait, I'm just gonna go through the ads real quick from issue one.
Oh my God, we got some Steven
Marked
Seagal.
marked for death. Uh, was it issue three? It must be issue three, so it's gonna be coming up. There's just some quick like ads. I just wanted to. Yeah, I think it's in issue three. I'll show it once we get to it. Yeah. Yeah. So you had marked for death there, then issue three when we get to the ad. Yeah. And the covers. That's one thing I got to say about all the series we picked for this DC. The covers are fucking bomb on all of them. Like the Simon Dark covers were pretty cool. Lobo covers are kick ass. Uh, Dead Earth and Starman. Ooh, the Starman covers. Once we get to that, the Starman covers are fantastic. Really strong covers on all these books. Really, really good stuff. Yeah. So issue three, like you said, opens up. They're trying to find Lobo. He's not on. Did I skip an issue? No, that's issue three. They're
No,
trying to
yeah,
find him, and
yeah.
they
All of
have
a
the
sudden, he
little
just drops out of existence. They can't find him
yeah,
anywhere.
on the radars yet. So, oh, little fat boy,
Yeah,
radar boy,
they get
and
really.
of course, the fat guy with the food and slob, and you know, playing into the stereotypes a little bit, like a lot of '90s comics did. So now Docs is getting fucking pissed because his plans look like they might not be going as smooth as he thought they were. Yeah. Report card. I love like how they have the report cards for Lobo.
Yeah, he's so
And then
bad he
you'll see
doesn't
the
get
other
have
one.
to get disease. Yeah,
Then you'll see in the other one where he the report card comes back where he forges it. It's pretty funny. Oh, this is it. So they end up on this space ship. You don't really know what it is yet. They're being held. Him and the woman.
even
Oh,
the teacher. Yeah,
the teacher. Yeah. So this is a big space fritter, and he's like, "Oh, you could have told me you saw something coming." So then they're sitting there.
yeah. Because he was. They
What are we
don't show up
doing?
because like he was peeing on his bike. Like he was standing up and like he hit the spaceship. Well,
Yeah. So now they got captured, and you think, "Oh, he could break out," but no, because it's connected. If he tries to escape, it'll hurt himself. At the same time, they kind of give a brief description. And the title of this one is called Spell or Die. That's the title the of this chapter is called Spell or Die. So he gets gassed, he passes out, and there's these Ku Klux Klan / monk style dudes. Where is it? Right there. Where they have like these hoods, but they're brown, so that it's kind of like monks, but then they have like the pointy tops that are kind of like the KKK. It's kind of a weird design. But anyway, they're like the literacy police of the galaxy. They're like a cult that they want to eliminate illiteracy from the galaxy. So they hold these spelling bees.
Yeah.
competitions where to try to eradicate illiteracy, where you have to spell. And
Or you get smoked, man, like straight
yeah, you
Squid
get,
Game
oh
style,
yeah,
man.
exactly. Yeah, it's like Squid Games before Squid Games, but with a spelling bee. So look, the one gets smoked up here in the corner, gets his head blasted. So now Lobo is starting to enjoy this game. He's like, he's getting into it. He's like, yeah, this is a lot cooler than I thought. Yeah. So, and of course, his teacher, what's her name? She's all super happy because she's like, oh, you're gonna die. You're gonna lose. You were never good at school. But Lobo turns out he's not that bad. And of course, mimicking the cover, they find out that he has a teacher and that he was bringing her. So teachers are sacred to them. So they're gonna try to kill
Yeah.
Lobo. And at this point, he's just kind of humoring them because next panel, turn the page, he just breaks out of it like it was nothing. Yeah, so now he's like, it's time to get down and dirty. And Lobo gets into another fight. He starts, there's the panel where he took the same report card that he had Z's and puts all A's with descriptions on the side. And it's pretty funny. Some of the descriptions on how he describes himself are pretty damn funny. Yeah. Oh yeah. Did I show the ad for the remote control Batmobile, man?
Damn.
Yeah, from the movie, from the '89 movie, man. Only $220. Imagine back in the '90s, that would be like what, 500-600 bucks now?
Yeah. And,
Oh,
and
it says save $105. Look, that's a deal, man.
yeah.
Retail at 325. Oh, and look, you can tell it's old school ads because look at who's holding the car. Some big breasted girl's holding the
Oh.
car to show it off. It can go 20 miles per hour. Anyway, I love like seeing those stupid little
So it
ads like
actually
that
could
in
go
the
as fast as the actual Batmobile could. That's awesome.
big. Well, it could probably go faster, but all the parts would probably start falling off it. Yeah. So then that's taken care of. The spelling bee Nazis there, he gets rid of them. So they're back on the bike and back on the road. So then now because they were cloaked, I guess he didn't show up on the radar. Now they got him back on the radar. So the first thing he does is check in to the to Chief Docs to say he's on his way with the prisoner who's still alive. But in the call, he says, "Listen, I'm pissed. I've been having a rough week, so I'm gonna stop at what was the planet called? Something Seven. What's the planet called? Revel
Um.
7. He's gonna
Yeah.
stop on this planet called Revel 7, which is a is it
Vacation planet.
a yeah, vacation planet, like a hedonistic vacation planet.
It's like this one big resort type place, and
Yeah,
he says that shit
and,
on open line, so like everybody
yeah.
hears it.
Here's it. Yeah, yeah, and that's how this one ends. He tells the old lady to shut up and drink her mai tai. Stop complaining. You're wrecking you're wrecking my buzz. And that's how issue 3 ends. Yeah. So then we get to issue 4. So he starts to get bored. He's like, this is too tame for Lobo. He likes debauchery to the max. So what does he do? He's like, damn, this is lame. So he takes care of business first. Uh, the old lady, he's like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. So he grabs her, hangs her up in the closet because she doesn't have any legs. So she's taken care of. She ain't moving. She ain't going anywhere. So then he goes off, records a video message that he broadcasts live to the masses, giving everybody, what is it, 5 hours to get off the planet, or else he starts killing everyone.
Yeah.
In 5 hours, he's going to start killing everyone on Revel 7. And he does this purposely to try to get people in a frenzy. Then they like have a little another page from the book that explains like the heavy metal aspects that make drives Lobo to be violent, which is another fun little page from the book that you can read. So then from him, this is the page. This is people start panicking, and this is the an awesome splash page, man. Everyone says they're a pilot to try to get out on the first ship off the planet. So now everyone's just beating each other up. It's just mayhem, and Lobo's just sitting back and enjoying the show. Now this is his kind of vacation. So that goes. So then, like you said, all these groups, they hear it on the open line, so they start traveling to Rebel 7 to intercept Lobo, because their whole plan was to ambush him before he got to the Legion uh, space station. There was like a protected area, and they're going to intercept him there. But now, because of that, they know he's on this Rebel 7, so they're all change course to Rebel 7. So the Purity group shows up at Rebel 7 to go get Lobo. But oh my god, there's a bunch of ads for like sex shops and
Yeah,
massage parlors, and they're like, change of plans,
yeah, we're
peep
gonna go.
shows, my lord, I feel faint, disgusting. So they're like, all right, we got to take care of the peep show stuff. So they change course, start blasting all these like strip clubs and sex shops and stuff. So they get distracted. Um, Space cops show up into orbit, and they just start like blasting each other somehow. Like,
Basically, the ships that are taking off run into the ships that are coming in a lot of the
yeah,
circumstances.
yeah. See, like in the, is it this one? Yeah, that's it right there. They start running into one another, and there's like almost like fireworks just blasting everywhere. And Lobo's all he's pretty proud of himself. He's like, yeah, it couldn't have worked better. I love a good light show, he says. Then of course the teacher's like, tisk tisk. That's what she does all the time. Every time he does something bad, she's like, tisk tisk. He's like, shut the fuck up, lady. She's like, I hate you, but I can't kill you. So we finish up the story. I mean, this is an old book, so we can. I mean, it's Lobo too, so I mean, he delivers him as promised. Delivers her with her legs cut off. And he's like, okay, say it, say it. Did I deliver it to Is she in your custody now? And he's like, yes. So he grabs the lady. Cuck! Just snaps her neck right there. No build up. It's just like boom. Just like out of nowhere. Slaps. Oh, yeah, and you get the panel with her neck all twisted like crazy. And that's how it ends. Yeah, Chief Dox is like, he's a lost cause. But he's a man of his word. He delivered her alive into his custody. But like he
Yeah,
said, didn't say nothing about after you had her in custody. Then it takes off. He's on his bike, and it says, follow Lobo's monthly adventures in Legion 91. You have a little ad for Dr. Fate. Back when you had a girl as Dr. Fate, some woman, Esna Nelson as Dr. Fate. So I might put it into context for some people. So that was Lobo. I mean, I fell in love with Simon Bisley because of this series. And I'll just touch really quick because, like, like I said, like, look at this cover is so fucking, like, isn't that fantastic? Such a good cover. Then, I mean, the second series, Lobo is back. We're not going to really go into it, but I mean,
it kind of
this
just
is,
does the same thing over and over again. Like it would be repetitive to kind of cover the story because
but the covers, man, the covers for this series are fantastic. This is like the classic cover. I think this is the one you see all over the place where it's his jacket says "Bite Me, fanboy." Like this is the big, but his art like is just a little. It's a little sharper. It's a little cleaner. You know, he stepped it up a notch on this one. I don't know if he maybe he had
Yeah,
more
that
time.
first fight that he did I forget what the skip trace guy's name was, but yeah,
Lou
that first fight, yeah, with
with
Lou,
Lou, yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
that first issue was probably the best of the series, man.
yeah,
Like,
fantastic. Like just really good. You see, yeah, like the art on this one, like is is quite a bit superior to the other one. I find it was really good, like art wise. Yeah, he stepped his game up for the second mini. Mm. So that was Lobo, man. I read this when I was a teenager, and I was like, holy shit, this is you know violence and
how many more did this creative team do? Did they did one more, right? Or was it just these
uh
two?
did they do the Authority in Lobo? They did a Christmas special where the Easter Bunny hires Lobo to kill Santa. That was the same creative team, I believe. And then there's Authority and Lobo. Uh, I can't remember if Bisley drew it, but I don't know if it's Alan Grant that wrote it. I'd have to go back and check, but I believe so. Mm, mm.
Okay, cool. Like I really liked the first story. The second one, um, I don't know, like it just kind of just like I said repeated itself a lot, but I enjoyed what they were trying to do. Like if you
Mhm.
really like Garth Ennis and you like that sacrilegious humor and
Yeah,
the idea of
the
just
second
like
one.
yeah, ravaging heaven and hell and
Mm. Yeah, no one wants him.
going
Heaven and hell.
woke like right
Then they
there.
try to, yeah, they try to. When they resurrect him, he didn't specify. He's like, "Don't bring me back as a dog. Don't bring me back as a child. I want to be a full-grown adult." But he didn't specify the sex, so they bring him back as a woman, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Then there's like a scene where he's in the bar. He's like, to clear the bar, he looks at everyone. He's like, "I'm starting to feel horny." And then everyone runs out of the bar, and yeah, there's it's definitely some crude, maybe not that funny humor, but yeah.
It's definitely a book that wouldn't get published nowadays. I'll say that for
No, for
nothing.
sure. Definitely not. Yeah.
It's a book of its time, definitely. Like I
Mhm.
said, like as a '90s kid, I'm really happy to have read this because, like I said, that second arc is literally should have been called like 1990s the comic. Like
Yeah. But the art is
this was
fantastic in that second story is really good. His art, like it's good in the first one, but you could tell like it came out 2 years after the first one, so he had you know probably improved his skills quite a bit over the 2 years. So, mm, all right.
right. Next up and
So,
last up, we have Starman by Jamie Robinson and art by uh, Tony Harris. Let's see who else worked on
mm,
this. We have Wade Von Gro Grobadger as the inker, Gregory Wright as colorist, and John Workman on letters. Tony Harris did colors. And this is, like I said, Starman. This is the Jack Knight run. This is from the late '80s into the early '90s. There was a Silver Age version of the character and stuff, and I think a version of him in the '80s before this one that was kind of like butt rock looking. I think they kind of
yeah,
mentioned him in this
like
book, but I'm not
spandex
familiar with him. Yeah,
with a star on him. Was it? Did it? It was just before this one, I think, right? Or did it come right after? But it wasn't too long. Like there's this series, and then you had the other Starman. I don't even know if they show pictures of it.
no, I think they wanted to really separate this book from that idealism because just how far this book goes into kind of its own niche, its own style. I mean, I love the way Harris draws this city, the way that opening page of Opal City, and the way they explain how
Mhm.
the city came into being. Like they don't do pages like that for comic book cities anymore. They kind of just draw cities now. I love that like pop art deco, just dreamland
Yeah,
looking stuff that he came up with for this book. It's probably one of the greatest comic book cities I've seen ever. And
yeah,
that's kind of how you open this book up, and you kind of get told about its hero, Starman, and how he's kind of the new Starman. He's the son of the original Starman. His name is Dave, and he's kind of a dick. He's a good guy. He's kind of a jock bully that kind of got the keys to the kingdom, and he kind of revels in beating people up, and you kind of learn that about him right before he gets shot, and that's how this book opens, is with Starman getting killed, and you find out from his brother Jack Knight, who he's the smart ass brother. He wants to be kind of more of a hipster. He sells um, used items and stuff like that, like vintage, rare, like
Like, yeah, rare
memorabilia type stuff.
collectible. Yeah, exactly. Like antiques or any kind of odd, rare items that that people might look for that would have value, right?
And he's got like an encyclopedic knowledge of that stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like what he was into. And through this, he kind of gets dragged into his father and brother's world, which is probably one of my favorite origin stories I've read in a comic, or at least in a modern comic. I really love how this kind of passes the mantle of an old hero to like a
Mm-hmm.
new one. Like I really like the way that and like I like how they really handle the character of Jack. He's kind of a wise ass, but he's not a total unlikable shit or anything.
Nope.
Like he he bitches a bit, but like I don't think he ever gets to the point of being whiny, and I really appreciated that about like the how strong of a character he was for that, because that's kind of a problem I have with a lot of these kind of modern origin stories, is they make them a little too, you know, feeble and
Mm,
whiny. And I thought that the arguments on his side were justified, because his dad kind of does the whole wrong kid died thing to him all the time,
mhm.
because David was the brother that embraced the heroism, embraced the mantle, and Jack was the non-heroic son, and Dad, don't call me that. You get those moments, which is really
Yeah.
touching in the book.
And he doesn't want to have anything to do with being a hero. He's almost literally forced into it, right? Because one of his father's arch enemies comes back to try to kill him, and he's the one who kills the brother, tries to blow up the dad in his lab or whatever, and then they send an assassin to kill Jack in
Yeah,
his
it's
in his shop. So he just and the only way he escapes is he had the one of the old Starman
cosmic rods.
cosmic rods, and he flies off because otherwise he would have been dead because he got shot in the leg, and he escapes, and he's kind of forced into it because these people want to kill him because they want to wipe his whole family's lineage out. The arch his arch enemy, which is the what's the name
The
of it? Is he
Mist.
the Mist? It is the Mist, eh?
The Mist,
Yeah,
and there's the other arch villain who kind of shows up, who acts more of a mentor to Jack Knight, which you don't really know what his deal is. The Shade, who
the
is in
Shade. Yeah, that's the one
there's
with the
kind of,
eye,
yeah, the one in
with
the
the eye
black
on the
hat.
chest. Oh, the black. Yes, yes. Okay, now, yeah, I remember the Shade. Yeah, yeah,
No, no, the other, that's the Mist's son. Like the Mist's son and daughter are basically out there doing
yeah,
what and kind of getting revenge. It's kind of cool because it's a dual generation, the villain and their kids, and the hero and his
yeah,
kids having to battle it
yeah.
out, which a really neat dichotomy for the storyline.
Mm.
And
Uh,
basically, yeah, they blow up the dad at his laboratory, and you end up finding out that there's this secret order of Irish family in the police force, the O'Dares, who are
mm,
protectors of Opal City, so they protect the Starman, and you kind of like meet this kind of really cool outlaw cop family, which was a neat extra to like this comic book. I really like their addition, like kind of like the Commissioner Gordon, but
yeah.
just kind of how random and how funny like the lineage of the family kind of runs. I really appreciate that. It's kind of one of the most pulpy noir aspects of the book, but I, I dig stuff like that. I really like that they kind of made like a whole little backstory for them. They didn't just try to ape off of somebody else's thing.
Here's his
Yeah,
mentor guy, like you said. Love that page. Look at that. That's fantastic. The art in this is so good. Yeah, that page is fantastic. Uh,
and basically, yeah, the Mist is trying to cause as much chaos in Opal City as possible to prove that he was always better and his family's better the than the Starman family is, and Jack is able to thwart those plans. They really do a doozy on Opal City. Like it's a
Hmm.
really cool opening story arc. I think that it would make just a great film. Like I don't know why nobody's ever tried
Hmm.
to adapt it because this was such a popular comic when it came out. Like everybody loved it, and I mean, it just look at this art. Look at the way how cinematic it is. That's um I mean Jack Knight when he puts on his actual superhero outfit, and that is like Starman's basically official outfit, like he rocks,
Yeah, it's cool. It's such a good character design. The
and I mean
leather
just
jacket, the
and the way he
goggles.
does the panel layouts for this book are just
Mhm.
so gorgeous, man. With the
Mhm.
love just the way the book looks. It's just one of the neatest looking uh DC comics or comics in general from that era. Like, and I've seen other stuff Tony Harris has done, like Ex Machina and stuff, and I still think that this is his greatest work. Like,
Mhm. And I love how like the settings, right? They really kind of explain the settings. Like Opal City really becomes a character within the book.
yeah, there's just all these little breakdowns where they show the city, and you get like just word bubbles about like how it was built and like
Yeah.
the motivations of the actual architect who founded the city from mining opals in Australia. That's how the city got
Mhm.
its name. And then like how it kind of blew up again in the 1930s, and like that's how it got the pop art on top of its original
Mhm.
Gothic look.
Yeah.
And they really explain like why the city looks the way it does, and why Tony Harris like just gets to, you know, s- blow us away with these incredible landscapes that he does in this
Mhm.
book.
Yeah. It's really good. Like I've heard a lot of people on Twitter, on like just on social media, a lot of people praise this book, and rightly so. It's really good. Then you have the story where he kind of can communicate with his brother.
Yeah,
Those parts are fantastic. The way they go about it, where everything's in black and white except for kind of you think this is where what's his name got inspiration from spectators.
Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah, do you think they got inspired by this because everything's black and white that's living, and the ghost is in color in the issues where he talking with David, that whole little issue of story arc where he first talks to his brother, right?
That's a good catch. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, maybe. I don't see why
The,
not. I mean, this is
the,
a very influential book, and like it's definitely something I could see Brian K. Vaughan loving. I don't know if he does, but like
because
could probably guarantee you he
it
does.
makes me think of that right away because it's all black and white except for his brother who is dead, right? And he's the only thing in color, kind of like in Brian K. Vaughan's Spectators. The ghosts are all in color, and the living are all black and white. They must have taken that idea from here, like kind of a wink to Starman. And man, his I would love to see Tony Harris like that, just a black and white comic with gray tones. Like man, it just pops. His art just pops in black and white with those heavy blacks, like with the very graphic kind of looking shading. Uh, man, it's great. Let's see. I'll find a page so I can show you. Like, just look. Like, if he did a black and white with the screen tones and stuff, like, look how good that looks in black and white. I mean, it's nice in color, but man, it just pops in black and white because of all of his heavy blacks, eh? Like really solid blacks. Man, it
Yeah,
looks.
there's a really good solid theme of family throughout the book, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool. You know, like his later on throughout the storytelling, you kind of like Jack starts his own, which is kind of fun. It's one of the few books that I like to kind of tackle that subject matter.
yeah, that's true, eh? And that's what the whole. I think the CW series is based on his daughter, right?
The the character should be, but like in the show, they never actually mentioned that.
Oh, they
Like
don't. I thought that was what it was.
I,
Okay.
I only watched like the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And it's cool because, like you said, they build on the whole aspect of family, and you get like that. Like they could have just been like, you know how he resents his brother because his brother was like the hero. He got to play the hero, and there's that little bit of resentment. But then you have like the arc where he gets to talk to his brother after he passes away, and kind of how they flesh out their issues with one another and become
yeah,
closer. And it's such like it's a great like little great moments like that. Like there's no action in that issue at all, the one I showed you, and it's probably one of the my favorite. I think I read the first 25 issues, and that's probably my favorite issue of the first 25 is probably that one.
I really liked. I mean, it is a little hokey, but I love the when he defeats the Mist's son in the first arc, where his big
He was
one-liner to that, where hey, I might not have liked my brother, but I loved him. I
yeah
that was
yeah yeah that's because he's the assassin that almost kills him in his shop, right?
yeah.
That's the brother. Yeah, shoots him in the leg. Mm.
And I and even the villains, they have a strong sense of family. And the end of this arc kind of he kind of creates his own new supervillain, which kind of pops up in later in the book, which I thought was a really good setup too, with the Mist's daughter.
Mm. Yeah, because she takes over the mantle.
So yeah, this book is DC was really good at this at one time, like having passing the torch and having younger versions of the classic heroes step up and kind of become like the new version, and they don't really take that chance anymore. And
No,
I I,
like if
I
it
know I know not every book turned out to be Starman, but like. What about the ones that did? Like there are a few other ones that came out. We covered them tonight. Like Simon Dark was another one that was just phenomenal because they gave it a chance, and but
mm,
it didn't catch on as good as Starman did. But uh, I kind of I love DC, but at the same time, like I don't understand why the best stuff that they put out usually gets unnoticed. You know what I mean?
mm,
It's kind of a shame,
yeah.
and kind
And
of
like
just get,
I love the other one that was pretty cool is the circus story arc where you
oh, where
get what's his name, that character, I forget his name, the one with the eye on his chest.
Shade, right?
Shade, yeah, that's it. Where Shade is introduced and that whole storyline, that's pretty cool. Other like there's a lot of great storylines in this.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun. It kind of goes it like you say it. I love like you said like it doesn't get stale, right? You have different generations. It gets like you said it passes down and it doesn't get stale, you know? It goes back to the past, back to the present. There's flashbacks. Uh it tackles the different generations where I find like other characters it gets stagnant because it's always the same thing and it's just there's a cycle, right? Like almost like a 5 to 10 year cycle where it's like, okay, let's start it over again. Then you get like very similar stories that for 5 10 years, and it just doesn't change. Like how much has Batman actually changed in the last, let's say, 30 years? Not that much.
no. Well, I mean, they did the stuff with the New 52, and then then they try to spring that back a little bit, and but for the most part they just keep telling the same story. Like
Yeah,
I saw um, Scott Snyder, Tom King, and uh, James Tinian all did big Joker storylines where basically the Joker took over the city and caused a big war. I mean, they're even telling the same story over and over again. You know what I mean? Like they're not even just
yeah. Like,
changing it up like they used to.
yeah, and I get people don't want it to change, but at some point it's like and you can't get mad. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I used to read Spider-Man when I was a kid. I don't anymore because, like you said, it's a lot of it is rehashed, like different villains, but still very similar stories. You know, the cast might have changed a little bit, but you're still pretty much telling the same damn story. But instead of having it be Doctor Octopus, it's a new villain that you introduce, but it's a very similar story. And it's just not that much fun to read. But to newer, younger readers, then I could see like it's their first time and they get into it. But they're probably going to go through the same thing after they've read Spider Man for 10, 15 years. They'll be like, man, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just they're rehashing the same old stories. And you just go through that cycle. Mm.
Yeah, I guess I just wait for people to age out and find indie comics or
New,
something.
yeah, and then, yeah, that's it, you know? But you do get gems like that, like Starman and, you know, and
The books we talked about tonight, yeah, I mean, like, I mean, DC has some of the better, like, just odd superhero books you wouldn't expect them to put out under their mantle. You know what I mean? Like
well,
more
they
than
have
Marvel, because like I don't Marvel has no equivalent to like Justice League
Black
New
Label.
Frontier. I
Yeah.
was just talking about like that particular book. Like, there's no
Yeah.
Avengers book that hits as good as New Frontier.
Mm.
Marvel
Yeah.
has no equivalent to Watchmen. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a couple where like DC like kind of leads by a mile, in innovation. But
I think like
Marvel's got a few
I
goods too, but
yeah,
originals.
they're all
But
right, but I think they did better for mature, like I don't want to say mature readers, but like when they had their
the Vertigo
Marvel
people,
Marvel Knights, when they had their Elseworld kind of like that wasn't tied into really the mains, like they could go off and do stories that weren't really tied to the overall main universe, kind of like a Black Label like DC has. Like you get the Wonder Woman. They do it a little bit. They did it with a Spider-Man where if he wouldn't have given up the symbiote, uh I mean they do like it's kind of like a what if, but they don't have a line that's dedicated to that, and I think that's what they need. Like just give us stories of like just Peter Parker like fucking as a 50-year-old dude, or because as I grow older, I don't relate to Peter Parker anymore because he stays the same fucking age, right? So I mean, I think that's why I like the the White Knight series because Batman's getting older, then it progresses and you can kind of relate to it as it progresses because just like anyone in life, we don't relive the same stories all the time. What's up, man? Oh, we lost Johnny. Mm, yeah, so those are our four books for our DC, our first DC episode, and got some old school ones that we read when we were younger, some newer ones like Dead Earth and Simon Dark, some newer, maybe not super new, but more recent. And we had like Lobo and Starman, which came out around the same time. So we covered, a few interesting books, and not like your typical like Batman or Superman or like the big characters. So I mean, they're great reads, and definitely recommend you guys go read it. And yeah, hopefully we'll try to do some more episodes like this on occasion. Like maybe do a Marvel episode, maybe do some more DC stuff occasionally. But we're still mainly going to do all the indie stuff. But definitely we'll take a little trip down the big two way. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Have a great weekend. Uh, keep reading comics, and yeah, I guess that's it. Signing off. Have a great night, everyone.